Hi, it's Vicente Wolf, and here we are again, 1 week later. So, we're going to talk today about upholstery, and what my experience is, and I'll suggest some of the people that I work with to give you, some information. If you have any questions, please type in, whether it's on upholstery or on design, so we can answer those questions while the whatever this is going on. So there are a few things I think is important to know about upholstery. First, to me, I don't like sitting too low. So for me, 18 inches is the height that I keep the seat. Because as one gets older, if the seat goes down, it's easy to fall in, but it's much harder to get out. Arms I usually do between 22 and 24 inches. Minimum depth that I do is 36. If you want a client, if a client likes to lounge, then I take it to 39. And back height goes from 34 to 36, depending upon the design of the piece. Filling, I personally like down. I love to sink in, but nobody wants to fluff cushions these days. So what I do is a combination of foam and down. For the seat and the back, I do it down, so it's soft when you sit in. There are different types of, obviously, of sofas. One is a loose seat cushion, which requires, if it's foam and down, it doesn't really need that much puffing up. But if it is down, you need to, each time people sit, fluff it up. The other is a tight seat. And a tight seat is just part of the construction, so there's no loose seat cushions and no fluffing necessary. The same thing with back. As I said, backs I like in down, but if it's a tight back, then again is fluff up, not needed. I work with different types of upholsterers that do different types of work. I deal with a company called ALB that does beautiful, beautiful upholstery. Fairchild Upholsterers, which does wonderful contemporary shapes, and Home Interiors, which does a combination of some traditional and contemporary style of upholstery. They all are excellent upholsterers. It depends on your budget, it depends on what it is you want done. All my upholstery is done custom because I like to fit the upholstery to the space, not having to be stuck with the sizes that catalogs or showrooms come in. Whether I want it curved or L-shaped, it's very much part of the way I create environments. Now, when it comes to fabrics, what we're mainly using now is indoor-outdoor fabrics, of which have developed to the stage that it looks no different than the velvets, the mohairs. All those looks are now done in indoor and outdoor. You just have to be clear that it is available to be used outdoors and indoors. So, sometimes they are, high maintenance type of fabric, but that doesn't mean you can use them outside. I never use wilt. I dislike wilt a great deal. I've done it only twice, and that was using a contrasting color. And I like just different shapes. I like very sort of amoeba shaped sofas. I like something that I call the Singer sofa, which gives you lumbar support. Just many different types. And when I am doing upholstery, I'm balancing. If the sofa is very modern, then the chairs that I pull up to it are much more transitional, which gives the room sort of like not just all one theme, but a mixture. In club chairs, most of the time in club chairs, I'm using loose seat cushions because I think it's an individual chair, and you really want it to be as plush as possible. So I think that gives you some ideas on upholstery. And as I said, if you work with a good upholsterer, you could show them your drawings or your design or what you want it to be, or show them photographs of different pieces of upholstery that you've seen that you would like to use in your job. And that upholsterer should be able to create that for you. I see the frame first, and then I always see it in muslin. So if there's something that's not sitting properly, like the back is too hard, or the seat is, too mushy, that is the time to do it. You don't want to upholster it in your fabric and then try it out and say, oh, change the back, because then they have to rip up all that fabric. So I'd like to go now to your questions, and I am ready.
Well, first I want to say you're getting a lot of hellos from your followers.
Hello, hello, hello.
Our first question comes from Laura, who could not make it, so she has asked hers earlier, and she said, how do you pull off a monochrome room without it looking flat?
I think that a monochrome room should not be really one color. It should be all shades of the same color. If it's red, just try some orangey red mixed with a little bit of blue reds. I think it gives depth to the space. If it's white, you can use all shades of white. I mean, it's never going to read the same even if you match everything, because of how the light comes in the window, what your indoor lighting is all about. So try to stay in the family, but give it some range. So like this, a room always has a sense of depth to it.
Our next question comes from Jessica, and she asked,
hi, Jessica.
What type of fabric and weave patterns do you like to use on different upholstered furniture?
Love mohair. I think VW Home has wonderful mohair. I mean, the prices of fabrics have gone through the roof, but the mohair that's sold there is very well priced. Polished wools, I love. As I said, mohair. I love chevrons. I like, same sort of levels of velvet, embossed or cut high-low. Just leather. I love upholstery and leather. It really, I like all fabrics. Pattern, not so much. But I just like to mix it. If the sofa is textured, the club chairs, I try to go more smooth. Just, balance them out. And so many times I see rooms where every piece of furniture is in a different fabric. Unless the fabrics are all in the same tone, color, then it's okay, because only when you get close do you start to see the difference. But try to balance the room with the fabrics and try to control the amount that you use in that room. And just sofas to club chairs to ornaments, try to see how you can balance it without having to use all different types of fabrics.
I believe this was for upholstery. Recommendations for fabrics for allergy households.
Well, in the indoor-outdoor fabrics are all synthetics, so that works. You have to just be sure that when you're going to your fabric company, that you're allergic to wool. Just leather always works, because very few people are allergic to leather. You just have to, when you're looking at the fabric's always in the back list what the contents is, and so just be very sure that you check that out.
This one's from Island. What type of fabrics are the most durable in terms of high usage and stain resistance?
Mohair. They use it, I keep repeating myself, but mohair, they use it in movie theater seats. I mean, what takes more abuse than a movie theater seat? Sodas, popcorn, things get spilled on it. Leather, obviously, you can wipe it off, especially if it has an aniline finish on it. Then it's like a coating over it that you can wipe off. Just, embossed fabrics again, which have high-low, sort of hide stains on it. And just indoor, outdoors. I mean, Janice AC has wonderful fabrics like that. You should, just check them out.
From Stacy is, what is your opinion on flower print fabric for furniture?
No opinion. Listen, I love all beautiful English rooms with wonderful chintz. Actually, they were used as summer covers, covering the solid fabrics. So all that chintz that people upholster everything in was really considered as a throwaway fabric during the summer. I love block, chintz prints. I think if that's what you like, that's what you should use. I mean, for me, I just find that it reaches a point when you look at it one day and you say, I can't look at that anymore. Solids allow you to give it a longer lifespan.
What are your thoughts on curved/rounded sofas?
Rounded sofas, well, I've been using that for quite a while. I think if you have a very square room, the sense of the yin and yang of having something with a curve in a square room sort of softens the space instead of doing an L-shaped sofa. If you have a curve, then it really works really great. I think it brings a different dimension to the space, and I think that's always important to have.
We have one from Trudy, which is, what is the difference between an 8-way hand-tie sofa versus a sinuous spring system?
I don't know. A tie sofa is where the strings are tied. I mean, I think if you go to a medium level upholsterer or low, everything is done with foam and staple guns. The old-fashioned way is when the frame, which is a hard wood, which won't break if people are flopping into the sofa, then they tie the springs, which gives it a much better way of seating, and over that then they put down and then goes the cushions. So that to me is really the old-fashioned way. I have sofas that I've had for 40 years and never had them reupholstered. They're slipcovered. And they still see it the same way because they were done that way with nail and springs.
Where is the best place to hang floating shelves in a room?
I think that 54 is a good height. So the pictures are at eye level. It really depends. I mean, in the room that we're in, the shelf is low because I wanted to hang the artwork above it. I would start it at 48 and then go up depending upon if it's a hallway, you don't want it too low, so you're having to bend down, you want it right at eye level. If it's in the living room, you do it at 36, so it's almost at console height, so it becomes a little more gracious way of displaying it.
What is your fabric selection process for different rooms?
Fabrics are the last thing I select. I do the architecture, I do the furniture plan, I design the pieces of furniture or look for one-of-a-kind pieces or mid-century pieces, and then I do the fabrics. Because I want it painted on. I don't want to start with the color and then create the room. So I have bins of different colors of fabrics. And I start there. I select just the colors that I like. And then from there I start narrowing it down to, well, this is silk and I'm not going to upholster the sofa in silk, but I like that color. And then I'll look for solids in wool or a blend in that particular color. And I select not just one or two, but I pick a whole group, and then I start narrowing it down where this works for the sofa, this works for the club chairs, according to the furniture plan that I have. And then I narrow it down more and more until I reach the quantity of fabrics that I want in that space.
What is your opinion on tufted headboards?
That's great. I mean, I think headboards gives you such freedom because you can do channel quilted, you can do tufted. I mean, I find tufted, if the shape is very square, to me it looks much more masculine. If the headboard has a shape to it, then it becomes, softer. I love it. I think that what I've been doing lately is I set into the headboards reading lights. So tufting becomes a little harder to do than a smooth headboard. But I think it looks great. I mean, it brings a whole richness to the space.
And for the tufted headboards, what is the best fabric to use?
Well, you're going to have the pleats. You're going to have where you pull in the button. So a pattern makes it much harder. It's going to get very confusing. So a softer fabric that can fold when they're pulling the buttons through, I think it's the best. You can do buttons or you can just do a pull through, which is they loop a thread through it and then they pull it in. Just something, a polished wool works great, a chintz works great. And I usually do the headboard and the encasement for the box spring out of the same fabric, so it all sort of ties together.
Back to sofas. This one's also from Trudy. For the cores of the sofa, do you prefer 25, 75 poly down seat cushions?
25, 75. I think it's great. Yeah, just remember, the more down, the softer it feels. And you have to use, instead of like a slab of foam, they do shredded. And there's a mixture of different ways of shredding, and the mixture of those together, plus the down, they start to make the cushions feel softer and softer. Trudy's asking all these questions that I hope I gave the right answer. Never did well in tests, so yes.
What are your thoughts on Suzanni's?
Oh, I think they're beautiful. And I bought them in traveling through Eastern Europe. I think that if you're talking about using them in upholstery, they're great in ottomans, because you can get one large enough to cover the top. For upholstery, they're not that large. I mean, the ones that I found are like max 3 foot, square. So it works for an ottoman, but not for a piece of furniture. But they're beautiful. I mean, it depends if they're old. If they're old, the sun has sort of faded them a little bit, and they're great framed on the wall. They're really special.
Do you think that furniture trends are worth getting into?
Trends. I mean, it's in, it's out. You want a mixture of different points of views as it pertains to upholstery in the room, so it doesn't all look the same. I mean, I keep repeating the same thing over and over again, in that I like the sense of a mixture. I think if you do everything in one way, if everything is tight back and tight seat, I mean, the room starts to look like a waiting room in a doctor's office. So you want to be able to mix it so it has different people into the room with different ways that they like to sit. So you have to take that into account.
What are your absolutes in a main bedroom, such as nightstands, furniture for the TV, etc.?
Say that again.
What are your absolutes, like furniture for the main bedroom?
I like a desk on one side of the bed. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but I like the look of it. I think it gives you a high-low sides of night tables. I like floating night tables. I've been sinking the headboard into the wall, so you have the smoothness of the wall and then the softness of the headboard. Chest of drawers, contemporary chests, they always look like such boxes. So I like to look for or something old, or find someplace else to store those things. If there's a closet, to just do very sort of generic drawers within that closet. I like soft carpet in bedrooms. I like wall to wall because it's a great way of using color to wrap that around the room. I like night tables that have drawers on it and a shelf, so you can put a book, you can put your sleeping pills or whatever it is on the drawers, and not having that all sit outside.
How long do you give in between before refreshing a space?
I think it depends on your budget. I find 7 years. My clients come back after 7, 8 years, and not to throw everything out, but to give it maybe a different slant to it. If the room was more traditional, then to start bringing some contemporary pieces to give it a fresher look. The idea of, if it was dark, maybe to start bringing lighter colors into the space. Refill the cushions if they need to be restuffed so they're bouncy again. But I think 7 to 8 years is the average time that I have found for my clients.
Okay, I believe this is going to be our last one unless we get another. Do you prefer loose seat cushions with upholstered backs?
Yes. I like the sense that the back cushion is firmer. It gives you more support, and I like the loose seat cushion. It feels, softer. I start these talks with some sort of a little, upholstery or framing. If you have ideas of things you want to hear of how to start this conversation, please let me know, because I wreck my head to see what it is that we're going to talk about. So thank you again for coming in, tuning in, and I hope it has been inspirational. Thank you.